Well, today it was really windy outside. In fact, as I'm recording this, it's still very windy. And this is going to sound very random and maybe even kind of dumb. But whenever it's windy out, I always think of Winnie the Pooh. And that is because of Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day, which is a short film, but if you're like me, you probably grew up watching the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh a lot, which was my introduction as a kid to Winnie the Pooh. This was a compilation of Winnie the Pooh films, that kind of sounds funny, all together, and the Blustery Day was one of them in this film compilation. Anyway, because of that, it's got me thinking as a kid, how big of an impact Winnie the Pooh had on me. I adored this character. Now, I liked a lot of cartoons and stuff as a kid. In fact, I could probably make a whole series on cartoons that made a big impact on me. But because it's windy, I'm thinking about Winnie the Pooh, and that's the one I'm talking about right now. This movie, like I say, it's great. It's classic. It has that old nostalgic Disney feel to it. It's one I haven't watched in so long, but I watched it so many times as a kid. I remember a lot of it, and I really, really need to revisit it. But there was actually a Winnie the Pooh movie that came out later that I think had an even bigger impact on me. And that was Pooh's Grand Adventure, The Search for Christopher Robin. I believe this movie was direct to video back in the day. I don't think it went to theaters, but man, oh man, does it feel grand in scale to me. No pun intended. I guess kind of pun intended because it does have grand in the title. But this movie, seriously, it feels like a big deal. Christopher Robin goes missing, and it feels like the biggest problem in the world. When I was watching this, it felt like something was really wrong because Christopher Robin was not in the picture at the moment. And the adventure that Pooh and his friends had to go on felt like the biggest thing ever. They made this feel large. And maybe it was because I was a little kid, and when you're a kid, everything else that's smaller feels a lot bigger than it actually is. That could be. I've not watched this movie in a long time, but I just remember thinking this seems like the most intense journey I've ever seen in my life. Keep in mind, I hadn't seen The Lord of the Rings yet, or a lot of movies and stuff like that. So I know there were probably bigger journeys, but this one just felt like such a big deal. And inevitably, they do find out where Christopher Robin went. I don't want to give it away in case you haven't seen it, but looking back in context now with all I just said, it's pretty funny what the reveal is compared to how big everything felt. And then the last thing I want to hit on that I watched so much as a kid was The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This was the show of Pooh. I remember watching this on Toon Disney, I believe. I miss Toon Disney so much. I wish they'd bring it back. I know streaming's a thing now, but oh man, what I would not give to watch Toon Disney in 2024. I know I can go watch some of the shows on Disney Plus, but it's not the same. It's not the same as sitting with a Capri Sun as a kid and watching Toon Disney select what shows next for me. Recess, The Weekenders, The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, but this show is so nostalgic. It was just Pooh and his friends doing a bunch of episodic things. It was great. I loved it. And the theme song is very underrated. It's like a banger, I guess you could call it these days. I love it. And this title card just gets me feeling really nostalgic. I love this. I want this as a painting in my house hung up. I think it would look beautiful. But obviously there's a lot of other great Pooh media out there. So much that we've all grown up with. There's more modern stuff. I'd love to know, what is your favorite Winnie the Pooh project or movie? Maybe it's a show. Let me know in the comments because there's a lot of good stuff to choose from.